Title last night. I handed Dragon's ass on a paper plate in a Dungeon of Danger match, and I took the United States title off of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zero Fucks Given Podcast, episode 38. And I am your loyal host, Chris Zero, and tonight we will have the very first ever triple threat interview. I am going to interview tonight the legendary, iconic, multiple-time world champion, multiple-time Hall of Famer DMG, along with the current DRW International Champion Alex Cross, and the new DRW Champion and current DRW Undisputed Champion, TJ Shadows. Now, TJ, a lot of the DRW fans are not familiar with you, as they should be. So, give us a little rundown. How did you get started in the business?
I know this sounds like a bit of a cliche, but I started like most people. I started as a fan of the product, and it grew on me more and more where I started doing it with friends. Of course, I was part of that era from the 2000s that enjoyed backyard wrestling. But unlike most that were seen on like news channels and special reports, I actually knew what the hell I was doing, and I didn't try to forcibly endanger people I wrestled with. I cared for safety more than anything, especially when I ran my own company. That evolved into actually doing wrestling in high school, and then a friend of mine who had connections with an independent company in Illinois had me work a couple matches with them, and for 3 years I got tools of the trade. And fast forward 7 extra years, blood, sweat, tears, friends becoming rivals, rivals becoming friends, different companies after different companies, after injuries, and I'm standing right here on my pillar that I made with my hard work and dedication.
Alex.
Yeah.
You've been in DRW a little bit longer than TJ. Give the DRW fans a rundown of how you got started in the business. What made you want to become a professional wrestler and to break kayfabe, an E-Fed wrestler?
First of all, the day I wanted to become a professional wrestler was when I went sit down with my wife and watched Raw for at least 2 hours. When I decided, hey, I want to be just like that. I want to do that. And I went to a professional wrestling training camp one summer. And I just did independent shows, trying to get my name known. And one day there was a DRW scout just looking at me wrestle these guys. And then he walks up to me after the match. He's like, hey, you did good out there. I want to sign you to DRW. And the rest was history, basically.
DMG.
Yeah?
You've been in DRW since day numero uno. A lot of the fans know how you came up in the business because we've talked about it on several different occasions. So how about we talk about something that we've really never talked about? Let's talk about the coming up of the name of DMG, because in this business, I know better than anybody, coming up with the name is the hardest part.
Not really.
Well, to some people, it's the hardest part. So DMG, why don't you enlighten us and tell us how you became DMG?
Really, it started with mental problems. I developed an alter to help me deal with all the bullshit that I dealt with when I was a kid. Abuse, all kind of shit. And me and my cousins took it to the backyard, and we were whooping the shit out of each other every day because we saw shit on TV. We wanted to be just like that. And when I was about 9 years old, I was sitting alone one day, and I started talking to myself, like literally talking to myself, but I was using different voices to respond. And the other voice that I used, I named that one Dark Vader. And that essentially became a part of me because that helped me deal with everything else around me. And when I'm in DMG mode, there is nothing that bothers me. Pretty much zero fucks given. I'll punch you in the face just as soon as I look at you. And when I get in the ring, it's nothing but business. I don't give a damn if you're my brother, if you're my husband. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna kick your ass. Because when I'm in that place, I don't stop till the bell rings again. So, that's pretty much how DMG came about. Mental problems and abuse from when I was a child.
Now, talk, TJ.
Yes, sir.
You've been. How long have you been in this business?
Let's see. In about 2 months, which will mark my 20th birthday, that will mark 12 years I've been in the wrestling business.
Holy shit.
Yep.
How long have you been in the e-fetting business?
I've been doing this for roughly 7 years now.
You got a year on me. And this is zero fucks given. This isn't DRW Radio. We all don't have to say that we're actual professional wrestlers because, let's face it, we're not, or not yet. Some of us are currently in training. Some of us start training next week. A little bit of an announcement, but
I start training next year. I just got verified yesterday.
There you go. But
Yep.
Very nice.
Thank you. I'm headed to the Wrestle Factory up in Philadelphia.
TJ,
Yes, sir.
to give the people a little bit of a emotional side of it, winning your first world championship. What fed? How did you feel?
Oh God. Well,
And just so you know how to typically answer this question, I'll give a little bit of a personal answer myself. The date in e-fetting, it was June 21st, 2010, 3 months after my debut. It was an EGW. I was Chris Crippler at the time. I was going one-on-one with Joe Lutz. I hit a package pile driver, went up top, cut throat, hit the flying headbutt, 1, 2, 3, center of the ring, won the EGW World Title for the first and last time. The crowd was... EGW was not that big of a fed, but I feel like the crowd was real raucous. I can sit here and say 87 world titles later, there's been crowds way better than that one. World title wins way better than that one. But that was the first one. I will never forget it. Taka, now you can answer.
oh man, I'm glad you said it like that, because now I kind of have two thoughts on my mind. Well, I have my first world. I'll start with the easiest one. The first world title I won in terms of e-fetting. The date was July 5th, 2012. Yeah, 2012. It was a little-known company known as WIW, World Incorporated Wrestling. It wasn't that big of a fad, like roughly 100 people, but pretty much 90% of us were active. And pretty much everybody had this idea that the only way you could be successful was if you were hardcore, had that edgy post-ECWS gimmick. And of course you had all those people that were like, oh, I gotta be like this, I gotta put this through a table, I gotta put this through thumbtacks, I gotta have Blink 182 as my theme song. And here I am standing there like, oh, I'm not that hardcore. I can be when I want to, but I'm just the guy who will technically whoop your ass. Simple as that. And there was this big dude, like, he was his own pick rep. Like, with e-fetters, we like to use pick reps because they impersonate who we feel we are when we wrestle. This dude used his own pick rep. And when I say this guy was massive, this guy looked about like 6'6", looked like he was 230, 240 easily. And he was the world champion at the time. I remember his name was Zodiac. And he was just billed as this monstrous heel that no one had beaten for a year. I worked my way up. I proved why I deserved to be in the main roster. And after a 30-minute Iron Man match, I stood as what would be the last WIW World Champion. And in terms of, like, true emotional ties to a world title, in terms of defending, that's important. But, like I said, I've done some indie promotion stuff. And 2 years ago today, a company called Chaotic Horizons Wrestling. I came in on the whim of my cousin who was injured. He asked me to take over for him, God rest his soul. And he was billed to win the world title, but he had a car accident, and he asked me to replace him literally an hour before he was declared deceased. They didn't rewrite anything. They just told me how to handle spots, and I went from there. And I'm trying not to cry. I am trying my best not to cry. I walked in there not knowing if I was ever going to be the same, but when the lights hit, when my theme hit, and when the crowd just started chanting, it's like what DMG said, another side of me took over. It wasn't the usual TJ that most people know as that fun-loving guy. It was a pure business TJ, a smash-mouth TJ, if you will. I walked in unsure of who I was, but I walked out knowing I was the best damn wrestler in all of Chicago that night. And I stayed that way for over 275 days. That was my first world title and my longest reign, and I will never forget it.
Alex.
Yes.
Your very first World Heavyweight Championship win. The date. What were your emotions? How was the crowd? What were you feeling?
Never won a world championship.
You've never been a world champion.
Never.
Not yet.
Been one yet.
Not yet. Now,
Yes.
DMG. You've been a multiple-time world champion, multiple-time Hall of Famer. I'm not going to ask you your very first world title win because, holy shit, me and you have talked about it. But I will ask you this. What is your favorite feud that you can look back on your career and go, I would do it again in a heartbeat? Feud or match?
That would have to be a ladder match.
Who was it against?
Angel Gadd.
Angel Gadd. Your sister.
Over an hour. Bloodied, broken, busted. But I was the one that came out that night, the winner. I climbed the ladder. She was climbing too, and I just headbutted her so hard she fucking fell backwards. And I grabbed that title. And when I fell to the mat, it was just like, damn. And it was for an Intercontinental Championship. But I would do that match all over again. That bitch took me to the limit that night. And all I gotta say about that is, what a rush.
TJ.
Yo.
Your greatest match or rivalry that you would do again in a heartbeat?
And I know that off the top of my head, because most people who know me and know who I associate myself with, they know this was the feud I can say personally put me on the map in terms of e-fetting. And that's the feud between TJ Shadows and the man they call Stoner.
The rematch, the next chapter to be written into that historical feud happens August 16th live in Tokyo at Destination War.
Indeed. But before it was Stoner and Shadows as respectable friends going to war, it was two guys that couldn't stand each other. For some reason, he always saw me as that new kid on the block that was invading his turf. And I saw him as this Goliath who was trying to block the rise of anyone he thought didn't deserve it, when we damn well did. We went toe-to-toe a couple of times. He beat me, sent me reflecting on my entire career for a month. I came back, beat him, and proved that I could stand the test of time with anybody, including him. Fast forward a year later, we stand as some of the closest friends you will ever see in this business. And since you wanted to promote DRW, and when you alluded to my titles, you forgot I am one half of the tag team champions along with Stoner as the Omega level.
That you are.
But I would say he was probably my greatest feud, and whether as friendly rivals or bitter rivals, I'd do that again in a heartbeat. A close second would probably be Aaron Youngblood for the same exact reasons.
Alex.
Yeah.
The one feud or match that you would do again in a heartbeat. What is it?
The same person that TJ selected, Stoner. We started off as friends. We were in a group together. Then we just cut off. We stopped talking. I don't know where it went wrong in our friendship, but it really didn't even matter. One day, he became DRW champion. I was still an international champion. And then I was given the chance by Chris Zero to face him and try and earn the international championship and the DRW championship at the same time. And as we all know, that was the match where we took each other to our limits. That was also the match where Miguel Roderick cashed in.
Now, my favorite feud or match that I would do it again in a heartbeat, it was, and I've referred to this numerous times, Chris Cage put me on the map. It was, hell, we've done it everywhere. It would either be Chris Cage or it would be JM Punk from CRW. It was CRW WrestleMania 29 for the inaugural CRW Television Championship. It was JM Punk versus me, and 45 minutes, a couple of urns, and a package pile driver, and that was it. We went 45 minutes. I broke my nose in the first 30 seconds. I broke my hand 2 minutes later, and he broke 3 of my ribs. We went 45 minutes. I finished and won the match and defended it for 9 days straight without stopping before I went and got surgery, and I continued to be the champion and held the title for a year straight before losing it to Killzone. Now, onward. My next set of questions. TJ.
Yes, sir.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
10 years from now? Oh, 10 years from now, I'll be approaching that magical number of 30. And while I can't say I'm going to be doing e-betting for that long, and I'll be honest, I can't see myself even being a wrestler for that long, but I know I'm going to be something involved in the rest of the business. 10 years from now, I'll be able to look back and say I had some of the most fun and met some of the most memorable people in my life, whether I became friends with them or not, through the power of wrestling. And I will always be thankful for what this business has done for me personally, emotionally, financially, any E you can think of. I mean, it's gotten me to meet most of you all. It's gotten me to go to places like Japan and Germany. And it once even got me unlimited tacos. Oh, God. I'm savoring that to this day. But 10 years from now, I see me relaxing somewhere in Japan looking at that trophy case with over 80 mid-card titles, 25 world titles, and over 100 tag team belts.
Now, DMG.
Yeah.
You've talked about how numerous times you don't feel like you got very much left in you. You've been in this business
for a very long time.
You've been in this business a very long time. You've had a lot of historical matches, numerous matches of the year. You're a DRW Hall of Famer. The question is, when will the final bell toll?
I'm gonna die in the fucking ring. That's the only way I'm gonna stop.
Like a warrior!
Alex Cross. You are one of the biggest talents in DRW today. You have a huge match coming up August 16th, live in Tokyo. You were inches, seconds maybe, away from being the DRW champion almost a month ago. 1 year from now, do you see yourself being the guy?
What I really see myself being is being the elite champion.
1 year from now, you see yourself being elite champion.
And I also see myself being, this may sound as ego much, but I see myself being as a new god at DRW.
Oh, now you're going to come on my show and steal my lines.
Hey. At least with all this talk, he can back it up. I mean,
He can. Alex, I will stick my neck out and I will say, Alex Cross, he's a bad cat. I've watched the dude for the past couple of months in and out of the ring. Me and him, we became really close friends outside the ring, but inside the ring, he's somebody you don't want to mess with. He electrifies the crowd. There's a reason why he's been international champion as long as he has. It's not luck. It's not kissing ass. The dude is simply good.
and I'll stick my neck out and say, I would love to see A-Star be not A-Star. I apologize. I'm so used to my personal nickname for you that I often forget your ring name. I apologize. Yeah, I can see Alex Cross as the elite champion. I can see him holding it for a very long time. Not as long as me, but pretty damn long. Because I plan on holding that son of a bitch for a year.
And a closing statement. We got 7 minutes left in the show, and we're going to run all 7 minutes out. You guys have had illustrious careers. Some of you have yet to even hit your prime, and you've already had numerous matches of the year. One guy you have not wrestled yet that you want to wrestle, possibly in a main event or anywhere. Who would it be? TJ, you go first.
I have two prime choices for that, and one of them is actually an upcoming opponent come August 6th, and that person being the current god of DRW, Mr. Chris Zero. I've never had the pleasure of facing him, but I'm currently a tag team champion with him in another company. I've always wanted to face the man called a god just to see if physically he lives up to that title, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it, win, lose, or draw. Another man I've never gotten a chance to face, but I hope to face in the future. And I know some people are going to look at me like I'm crazy because of the history I have with this man in a professional standpoint. But just for the sake of saying I faced him and shut him up, I want to face Disciple of Metal. Just to prove to him that where he thinks he is this all-powerful, all-knowing, Thanos-level person, he's nothing more than another man who can get stomped out like the rest of them.
Alex Cross?
I don't know if we confirmed this yet or not, but about a few days ago, I issued a challenge to one of my now dream opponents because I really want revenge against this person. I issued a challenge against Miguel Roderick, and he said yes, but I don't know who placed it on anything yet. But my second dream opponent, I would have to say, is Justin Blackwood, just to shut him the fuck up.
DMG.
I guess same question.
Yeah.
I already have an answer. Chris fucking Cage. I have never had the pleasure of stepping in the ring with that motherfucker. But the day that I do, I mean, goddamn. We talked about it before, and he wants to be my final match.
Now.
And I accepted.
Now we've all talked about. I'm going to talk about who I actually would love to step into the ring with. If he was to ever come out of retirement, the match was booked once. It never got to happen. My dream opponent, because I have now faced most of the most legendary people out there. I have one more on my bucket list. One more, and then I can ride off into the sunset. Because I already have Chris DeLeon coming up at Battle Clash. I would love to go one-on-one with VTech. Not disrespectful, straight respect. I've heard the guy's name 100 times. I've seen thousands of his matches. To put the last accolade on my resume, the last big match in my career, I want VTech one-on-one.
Oh God, we're gonna have to coax him out that retirement home with even more X-Men comics.
Right?
Now, 3 minutes left. I'll ask each of you one last question.
Ooh, this should be fun.
Home.
Lightning round.
Home. What do you consider home? It could be a hometown, a federation, somewhere that you became famous. TJ, answer very quickly.
There are a lot of places I will call home, but somewhere I know no matter where I go, no matter what alignment I have people who respect me and love me, not because of what I can do, but because of who I've become because of my skill. And that is Tokyo motherfucking Japan. Of course, you're going to have those idiots. They're like, is that because you're part Asian? No, you dickwads. I just love how beautiful it is in the summertime.
DMG, what do you consider home?
Where I live right now, Bryan College Station.
Alex Cross, what do you consider home?
Definitely Memphis, Tennessee. Because this place is really all about wrestling.
Of course.
Now, Chris Zero, the wrestler, he considers 3 places home, 3 states, well, 2 states in a country. Atlanta, Georgia, that is 0 country. But in my mind, really going home is going to Kansas City, the place that I was made famous. That was the very first state that I won a world championship in. Now, the federation, of course, is DRW, and DRW's home, just like you, TJ, is Tokyo, Japan. Not because I have Asian descent. No, it's
the first time I'm hearing of this.
yeah. No, I'm dead serious. Actually, no, it is because Tokyo, Japan that is where wrestling was born. Tokyo, Japan has such a great audience. They respect wrestlers, not sports entertainers. They respect wrestlers.
Wink, wink.
And Japan, it's a great place to be, and I'm glad that we're going home August 16th. Now, to close the show out, I want to thank TJ, Alex, and DMG, and Miguel for being here. Miguel was listening. He could not chime in due to some audio problems. Be sure to join DRW Live on pay-per-view August 16th, live from Tokyo, Japan, for Destination War on the DRW Network, and live on pay-per-view. And be sure to tune in September 27th at Battle Clash, not only for the return of the Battle Clash match, but simply because we come back to the States. Now, thank you for tuning in to Zero Fucks Given. We hope to bring you many more The next Zero Fucks Given will be a one-on-one interview with Steve Starkiller Smith. Thank you.